Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Kerala has an unexpected guest for the last 12 days, and the guest is now beginning to raise some serious suspicions. How is it possible for one of the world's most advanced and expensive fighter jets to make an emergency landing at the Trivandrum airport and then just stay grounded there for 12 days? Is it really just a hydraulic failure that has grounded the British Navy's F-35? Or is there more than meets the eye? Well, conspiracy theories are flying thick and fast over the grounded jet. We'll talk about all of that in just a bit, but first, let's see what has happened so far. So, this is the story and this is where it starts. It starts on the 14th of this month. What happens is the F-35B jet, well, it encounters terrible weather on sea. So it requires an emergency landing. On June 14th, it makes an emergency landing at the Trivandrum airport. Now, this plane was part of the maritime drills with the Indian Navy. What we are being told is that possibly it was hydraulic failure that caused this emergency landing. But yesterday, the British High Commission has tweeted to call it a technical error. Now, what is interesting is this. After some time, the Trivandrum airport and Air India said, look, if you're still going to be here and still going to be grounded and no one can fix you, just use one of our hangars. But the British Royal Navy refused to put its stealth aircraft in a hangar, preferring it to be drenched in the Kerala monsoon. Why? Possibly, one of the possibilities that is being floated is that the British Navy wants to safeguard its protected technology that this fighter jet is carrying. So as of now, as we speak, our fighter jet here, it's the British Navy fighter jet, is parked at Bay 4 at the Trivandrum airport. Now, you know, the fact is that probably the Trivandrum airport and Indian authorities had thought that the jet would take off in a day or two. In fact, the Indian Air Force even refueled it. But did that happen? That hasn't happened for 12 days. It seems the stealth jet, one of the most expensive and one of the most advanced, is unfixable. So, airport authorities in Trivandrum are now saying they will be charging the fighter jet a parking fee. They're doing the math. Okay, why is the F-35B such a big deal? Well, to cut a long story short, this is one of the most advanced and most expensive jets in the world. This one that we are talking about, the F-35B, is actually part of the HMS Prince of Wales carrier strike group. That essentially is the aircraft carrier that carries this jet. It's manufactured by the US's Lockheed Martin. As I said, it's expensive, and it is very, very expensive, though there are some jokes about OLX doing the rounds as well. But for the moment, the jet costs about $110 million. Many countries use it. In fact, many NATO allies use it. The US uses it. The UK uses it. This is a British plane. Italy uses it. The Netherlands uses it. Why is it, you know, why are we calling it a fifth generation fighter? Why are we saying it's one of the most advanced in the world? Well, it's known for a short takeoff. It has advanced sensors. It's one of the most technologically advanced jets. Now, let us tell you why this is one of the most advanced fighter jets out there. It's a single-seater, it has a single engine, but it is a multi-role aircraft. It's capable of doing many things together. It's capable of conducting air-to-surface missions. It is equipped for electronic warfare. It is equipped for intelligence gathering. In fact, it can carry out simultaneous air-to-air missions altogether. But ladies and gentlemen, as I said, that's not the story. The story is that one of the world's most advanced jets is grounded in India for 12 days. Just by the way, this is the first time ever in history that a F-35B has been grounded on foreign soil, the very first. So the question is, why is it taking 12 days for the fighter jet, and why has it not taken to the skies yet? There are multiple conspiracy theories that we are going to be talking about with our guests this evening. But essentially, conspiracy theories flying thick and fast for the last couple of days. Question is, was the jet grounded only because of bad weather? Bad weather is what we have been told officially. At one point, we were also told there's a hydraulic failure, which is why it remains grounded at the Trivandrum airport. The question is it possible for a state-of-the-art fighter aircraft not to take off in 12 days? Is it really that unfixable? Is there really a technical error? Actually, the simple question is this: is there really a technical error, or was the UK fighter jet on a secret surveillance mission? The question also being asked is, why did the Royal Navy reject the offer by Air India to use their hangars? Let me put the questions and the conspiracy theories to my guests who are joining me this evening. Thank you very much. Captain Sanjay Karve, you're an aviation expert. You're joining us on the broadcast. Thank you very much. Commander V.K. Jaitley, you're a Navy veteran. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. And Lieutenant Colonel Glenn Grant is a British Army veteran, also a former advisor of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, joining us on the broadcast. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us here on the show. Captain Karve, can I ask you why you think dal mein kuch kala hai? Because that's what I heard you saying this afternoon on our channel.
Well, it's like this. I have operated from an aircraft carrier for 25 years. This aircraft has got airborne at night from an aircraft carrier, 100 nautical miles from the Indian coast. There is a detailed briefing which is carried out, which includes operational aspects, meteorological aspects, and the mission brief before the aircraft is launched. 8 o'clock at night, monsoons near Kerala. It is a part of the carrier battle group or the carrier strike group. The carrier and the support ships which are there would definitely have a CERA band radar or a Doppler radar, which would pick up a weather. No commanding officer worth his salt, more so that of an aircraft carrier, would launch an aircraft in bad weather in peacetime operations. And once the aircraft has been launched, for some reason, if it has to be diverted, he's got ships with him. He would definitely detach a ship behind the aircraft to give him support. Now, I fail to understand as to why this aircraft, it says a routine flying in Indian monsoons at night when your weather radar is picking up heavy showers. How would a commanding officer launch an aircraft? Obviously, it looks like that the pilot was non-diversionary pilot. That means he was not cleared to take off and land from a carrier in case of bad weather. So he had to come. I agree, a hydraulic failure for such a fast-moving aircraft is a serious emergency. But what viewers need to understand is it has got two hydraulic systems. And the thrust vectors of the engine do not work on hydraulics. They basically use fuel for the actuator. So it is really surprising, and I am amused. The British Ministry of Defense is keeping quiet. They are mum. They are not making any comment. The Indian Ministry of Defense is keeping quiet. Everyone is keeping quiet about the entire affair. And every day we have a different story. One day it is low fuel. How would an aircraft go or get airborne from an aircraft carrier with limited fuel? It is never done. No aircraft carrier in the world, whichever navy it is, would launch an aircraft in bad weather with low fuel. I just fail to understand this.
Lieutenant Colonel Glenn Grant, we've not heard from the British Defence Ministry, but we've certainly heard from the British High Commission here in India, and they are saying this is a technical failure. Do you think there is more to it? My own sense is this is a royal embarrassment. If you have your most advanced jet grounded on Indian soil for 12 days.
I think embarrassment is a good way of describing it. But I wouldn't like to. I wouldn't like to take things as far as your grand idea of some great spy mission. This is far more likely to be based upon just good honest stupidity and bad decision making somewhere. And it does happen. It happens everywhere, and it happens in all armies. And this will not be the first or the last time that that anybody in an air force does something. Or in an army does something that they shouldn't do. I agree with the first speaker that to launch it when there's monsoons around is a little bit risky. But I don't think it's anything more than just really bad decision making. Why is it taking a long time to repair and fix? Well, it's a sophisticated plane. Parts like that are not exactly sitting on someone's living room floor. You have to go and get them, and you have to find them, and you have to buy them, and because you just don't carry everything. So to get something taking 12 days, that's actually pretty normal. If it's got to come from America, that is very normal. So I suspect the part or parts are on their way somewhere and will arrive duly in a nice brown package and be put onto the plane, and the plane will take off. But I don't think it's any more than that.
Commander V.K. Jaitley, do you think it's anything more than that? The fact is that a 30-member team has already inspected the plane and tried to fix it. And it's a team that has come from the aircraft carrier and from the UK and some members from the US as well, because obviously this is a Lockheed Martin plane. Does it take that much time to fix a plane, however advanced it is? And when the Royal Navy is refusing to put it in a hangar, if some questions are raised, are they logical and grounded in some fact, some truth?
See, I have the experience of being the commissioning crew of HMS Hermes, which became INS Virat, the aircraft carrier of India. Now, let me tell you, we always felt that the Royal Navy was very, very highly professional. But as the earlier two speakers have said it, it looks like the level of their professionalism has gone down drastically over the period of time. What they did in this bad weather, and that also allowed it to take off, and then they initially say low fuel, finally they raise that signal, what they call as some number is there, 74700, 7700, transmitting swag signal that we are in emergency and kindly allow us to land. Of course, we were doing exercises together, so they landed. All support was given by the Indian Navy and Indian Air Force both. Now the fact is that they have not been able to fix it till today by the technical people who are on board HMS Prince of Wales. But fact also remains that another F-35 crashed in 2021 in the Mediterranean Sea. So that raises the questions on the quality of F-35 also, which they are tom-tomming all over the world that we are the best in the world. So they have not been able to fix in last 12 days speaks very, very bad. And as far as the theory of spying, etc., those things are concerned, I don't think there is anything like that. Because nobody will allow their F-35, the top in the world, to be parked in bay number 4 in one corner and let the whole world see it in such bad shape. It's bringing a very bad name to F-35 all over the world. Their sales are going to go down, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is that the Americans are trying to push India to buy the F-35s for our Navy. This is terrible. This is terrible advertisement for them. I'm sure the Indian Navy is looking at these pictures from the Trivandrum airport and saying, probably this is not what we want. I don't know. Maybe this is an exception. Okay, there's a piece of breaking news coming in, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we are learning via sources. We are being told, of course, that the British F-35B is still at the Trivandrum airport, and it is still there after 12 days because maintenance and repair cannot be done by the engineers of the Royal Navy. In fact, we are being told that even the team that came from the United Kingdom was not equipped to deal with this high-tech aircraft. They simply didn't have the technology to actually fix this aircraft. So we are learning a specialist team from Lockheed Martin is coming from America to actually repair the aircraft. This is basically because the F-35's maintenance still remains with the company and that technology transfer still hasn't happened. Lieutenant Colonel Grant, would you want to come in here? It seems that the Royal Navy is simply doesn't have the technology to deal with the F-35 and fix it right now because the technology transfer hasn't happened.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite normal with new equipment. Don't get confused with this. I mean, when we got our first computer systems into the British Army, we had the firm there. Then it was Marconi, actually in the battlefield with us, actually working and doing things. Because new systems, technological systems like F-35 are extremely difficult. You don't learn them in 5 minutes. It takes a year or two to get all the systems in place especially repair. Repair is extremely difficult, and the decision of whether the transfer of the work from the company, the people that make it, to the armed forces is not a 5-minute job. You get more and more and more, and as the system gets more and more understood, then it becomes easier to maintain and easier to look after. It's a new aircraft, relatively, and it's an extremely complex aircraft, really, really complex. But if you want a 5th generation aircraft, you have to expect that complexity, and you have to expect that you have problems like this. That is normal. Trust me, it is really normal. I've seen it lots of times with lots of different systems. And it will get better, and it will get easier. This is an embarrassment. Yes, it is. It's an embarrassment, but it's not. It doesn't mean that the plane is not a great plane, and is not going to be a great plane in the future. It's just a stage in the life of buying one and actually learning how to use it.
Captain Karve, have you changed your mind in the last 15 minutes after what your co-panelists have said? And of course, after the information that has just come to us, the fact that a technology transfer has still not taken place, which means the British Navy and its technicians are really not in a position to fix the hydraulic failure on the plane. My second point also will be to counter your point about possibly it being on a secret surveillance mission. Are two. Number one, would you have your top class asset, your cutting edge asset, one of the most expensive assets you have, at display for the world at the tarmac of the Trivandrum airport? No Navy would want that. However important the surveillance mission may be, no Navy would want that. And secondly, more importantly, let's not forget that this particular aircraft was actually conducting joint drills with the Indian Navy. And then on the ground, when it was realized that it didn't have enough fuel, it was the Indian Air Force that helped refuel it. So our armed forces are not seeing anything fishy in it. Should we still say, the grounding remains a bit suspicious and clouded in mystery?
Like I said previously, the basic question is, how did the aircraft get airborne? Why was it allowed to get airborne in bad weather conditions with low fuel? And they term it as a routine sortie, a routine flight. Which aviation asset would carry out a routine flight in pouring rains, poor visibility, and that too with low fuel? And the reason that why he has popped is 7700, which is an emergency signal. As international nomenclature or international understanding is, any aircraft which spots 7700, you are required to permit landing to that aircraft. It does not matter which country that aircraft belongs to. 7700 is international aviation distress sent from your aircraft. Now, fuel is something like they kept on saying, low on fuel, low on fuel. Didn't he calculate? Didn't the operations department calculate the fuel? Or were they doing something much more than what has been put across? I am not saying that it was snooping around, but the reason under circumstances under which it has got airborne, the reasons which have been given for its grounding, or the reasons which they sang hand, it has got 2 hydraulic systems. Are we to believe that both the hydraulic systems have gone bad? The fuel actuator or your actuators for vertical landing is done by fuel. It does not require hydraulics. So if you could get airborne, you could definitely go back to the carrier and land there. A carrier has got 700, 800 feet of runway. And someone who is cleared to operate at night would definitely be able to land. And as regards technology transfer, like Colonel said, it is absolutely normal. A lot of nations, when they part with their own equipment, they do not transfer the technology. And it is a commercial consideration, it's a security consideration. So there is nothing wrong or abnormal in it.
You know what? The point is, there have been conspiracy theories that have been floating around for the last 1 week at least. It's good that we got all your views in. We'll let our viewers make up their minds. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening on this very quick debate. Captain Karve, thank you very much. Commander V.K. Jaitley, thanks for your time. And Lieutenant Colonel Glenn Grant, thank you for your time as well. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, a break. There's much more on the other side. Do stay with us.